Yeah, Lonnie shared a couple, but let's find the Marvel one first.
Very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read the comics.
Full screen it. Full screen
I
it.
wasn't familiar with comics. I wasn't familiar with movies.
Start over.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic.
Reading the comic.
I'm very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read the comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with comics. I wasn't familiar with movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
Yeah, can you lower it a little bit?
To redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Is this the reason why
You can pause it. You can pause it.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever for you to.
You might need to lower your mic a little bit.
Okay. That. All right. Am I good now or what?
No, you're good. You're good. Just when you're watching the video, just turn down the volume a little bit, but you're good.
Yeah, that doesn't make
we can
any
turn down
sense
the
at
volume
all.
here, but you're fine. No, you're fine.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. All of those movies, except for maybe Shang-Chi, was the best one out of all of them. And those guys, they say they didn't lead heavily, which means they lead some. How do you take a project and you don't know anything about it?
Not reading the comments at all is crazy. I'll be honest. Not reading anything regarding the material is crazy to me.
My biggest problem with media nowadays, and it's heavily in Marvel, but it's like we've seen it with like The Witcher and like other things like that, is that people just be also how we're going to see it with Avatar. People want to just remix stuff instead of respect the original content. Like all those directors of the Marvel movies saying like, "Oh, we didn't read the comics. We don't know the source material. We just basically got cliff notes of what this is about, and like we're just gonna make it from scratch." No. That's how you ruin stories. Like I'm sure if Ty got like a movie deal, but he wasn't involved, and they're just like, oh, it's about a black kid from Memphis and they got powers. And then that's basically that they just contextualize their story like that, Ty, and they just made a movie like that. And you just walk and you're at the premiere, you're like, yo, what the hell is this?
Yeah, and it would be one thing if like, okay, we're kind of doing our own thing. And the current phase has just been really successful. No, it's been terrible. It hasn't been good. There's certain gems. Love Loki. And those writers in Loki paid a lot of attention to what they were doing. Like they deserve so much credit.
They respected the source material.
But then we got other like material that is just not highly praised. Like the Marvels wasn't very good. She-Hulk wasn't good at all. And it's like this phase is not
She-Hulk
well.
was a travesty. The minute she started twerking with Meg Thee Stallion, I was like,
that I was fine with because it's Megan Thee Stallion. I was fine with.
Nah, do that shit in a YouTube video, not on the fucking show.
Ty, you're muted.
Ty, you're muted.
I think it could be a thing where they think that because it's this, the audience are gonna like it regardless. That might be what it's looking like. Hey, people like these characters, so let's just do a movie with them and get it out there.
And the crazy thing about that is
what you're saying. It's like just a money grab.
You know what? I wouldn't have been, because I don't think there's anything wrong with money grabs because everything is a money grab essentially. But I only started thinking about that when I heard that first Avatar movie that was horrible.
Yeah,
they should not let us watch anime after that.
The director admitted, I didn't consume Avatar. My kids did, and they loved it, so I wanted to make a movie about it. So that's just suggesting people like this, so let's make a movie. And they'll like it because it is these characters.
Yeah. Miles, go ahead.
I'm interested just to see how long Marvel's been doing that, because I don't know if I fully agree with the idea that just because they watched it, it has to be bad. Or consume the material has to be bad. I think it'll make it easier for you to produce something great. But if they didn't execute these films bad, I don't think we would care that they haven't seen it. I just think because they executed it bad, that's why we're so alarmed by it.
Well, Miles, I agree with you.
I think in that video, like what they were a part of. Like I think
I agree with you though about that, Miles. But look, for instance, the Thor movies. Thor only has one good movie. Let's keep it a stack. The third movie. Yeah, the first one's mid because it's the first one, but if you really go back and look at it, I think it's below average. The second one is probably the worst movie out of the early slate. So, those people, you could tell that they did read the source material, but they just didn't adapt it the right way. So obviously that's. But if I'm going to adapt anything, I'm not saying you got to do it one for one, right? Because you do. Everybody's going to add their own spin to it. But to not do, if I'm going to talk about Ty's manga and what I like about it, but if I never fucking read it, why would anybody listen to me? Ty's gonna be mad because why you're talking about what something that I put in work in, even if you didn't get the point, at least tell me, at least I would know if you read it than if I didn't at all and I try to make something out of it.
I mean,
Lonnie's
I
example.
personally don't care if you read it either. To be honest, I don't care if you didn't read it either. But I do think what you're saying is right, Miles. That's why I said if they executed these latter parts well, because all those people we just saw are the new phase. All of them were new phase writers. So that was Secret Invasion, that was Internals, that was Shang-Chi, which was like pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. But that was like all the new phase stuff. And funny enough, we didn't see any Loki writers. There's a reason for that. So the fact that it's all the new phase stuff from what we've seen from that video in particular, and there's such a lack of quality and care to these stories to the point where some of them are actually like bad, like they're straight badly written.
Secret Invasion was terrible.
Secret Invasion was terrible.
That's such a great story.
The Marvels had a terrible rating. Eternals gets cooked all the time.
Eternals get slandered.
So
I liked it
with the amount of great actors you had for that movie, and you fumbled it, in my opinion.
Like no, they definitely did way too much in the span of like one movie. They try to do way too much.
Yeah, Secret Invasion was just like objectively bad. Like not even just like the storyline or like what they were missing. The episodes were bad. It was bad. Like the setup of the story was bad. The context of the story was bad. The ending, like when the girl had every single power in the Marvel verse, was bad. It just missed every single box.
You can say the exact same thing for She-Hulk. You can say the exact same thing for She-Hulk.
You
ruin a legacy character in the Hulk. You ruin him. Obviously,
you made a girl boss timid. With anxiety, like her second guessing herself. Like she's supposed
that's not
to be
She-Hulk at all. That's not who She-Hulk is in the comics.
I don't even want to say that.
And the B.S. at the end was crazy. They brought Hulk's son like
opposite of what
this isn't like. Oh, this is my son. Hulk's son's backstory is compelling in itself to just kind of bring him up. Oh, this is my son, blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, bro, we got questions now, and it's not good enough for She-Hulk.
So
She-Hulk pissed me off the most.
Miles, for me, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to what you said earlier, when you read the material, it helps you understand the nuances and the innate details that are very important in terms of building a narrative and building a story. When you don't have that nuance and when you don't have that perspective, you are kind of just going by like kind of feeling to an extent to kind of write your story that doesn't really correspond with how the narrative is built. And especially when your core audience is people who will read the source material, they're gonna notice these detailed like mistakes and they're gonna be really pissed. And although I don't really take too much credence to like people who read the source material and just just hate the fact that it's not adapted one-to-one, the fact that it's not adapted one-to-one and it's just bad, like bruh, that doesn't help anything. You're not helping the person, you're not helping the reputation of Marvel. Marvel is in the gutter. There's a reason why they had to kind of basically restart how they're doing everything and rethink. And Ryan Reynolds keeps on saying, stop saying no to all the Marvel ideas they keep on trying to put in his movie. So yeah,
thank God he's able to do it, because I think after this he's done. He should just run away from there.
If you don't respect the material, then I feel like people should make their own new ideas like that, because it's completely fine to just make new Marvel story stuff. Like the creative director of Warner Brother, he says that he prefers reboots and remixes than new material.
Which I was gonna say it all depends to me also how it's advertised and marketed. Like if you're marketing as this one-to-one or this source material-esque product and then you don't deliver, I think that's a big deal. While we were watching that whole hot take, I was thinking about the Death Note live action. if it wouldn't have been Death Note and it wouldn't have been advertised as it trying to be a 1-to-1 to Death Note, I didn't think that film was that bad. But when you're advertising it as Death Note and you're changing people's race and all of these different things, that's when people are gonna have a problem with it. If they would have just said, "Oh, we're making our own original rendition," I don't think it would have been received as bad as it was. So I just think it's a combination of the marketing and the execution.
And also like with that Death Note, they like changed Light's personality like by a lot. Like he was supposed to be like that jock, perfect student type kid, and then he turned into like in the movie he was low key like a school shooter type kid. Like it was just like it was whack. Also, like one of the most to me like significant parts in the beginning of Death Note is like when he sees the Shinigami for the very first time, he has a stone cold face, which surprises him. He's like, "You're not scared of me?" In the movie, he sees him, screams, jumping over the table, pissing his pants.
It felt like a teen drama, which I didn't mind. But I mind it because it was Death Note. If it wouldn't have been Death Note or advertised as such, it would have been fine.
If it was Death Note inspired and then they changed the name of the characters, like we're inspired by Death Note, but this is our story, they would have been way better off.
So like it's just a brand new character who finds the Death Note.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the actor that plays Light, but his portrayal of Light was like an angry, angsty type person.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's not who Light is. So it's just like he wasn't composed at all throughout the whole thing. It's like he was trying to get like a get back, and he was like a petty person throughout the whole movie. Like, this is not Light.
And then obviously there to give you another example based on what Miles said, with somebody knowing the source material and just outright ruining it. Velma by Mindy Kaling. She was like, "Oh, I love Velma, blah blah blah," but what made Velma great in the old school, at least for me, when I watched the old school ones, was that she was like a girl who could just kind of get her own thing. Obviously, whenever she lost her glasses, that was like her kryptonite for real. But like she was able to do her own things, but then to turn her into this felt like this completely forced Me Too thing. Now Fred's a racist because he's never. I'm like, Fred was other than blowing Daphne's back out when they split up. Fred was the leader of the squad. Like, don't like making
Velma's cook, bro.
Like it was like one of those Shaggy. If there was the name Norville, is that guy Shaggy? He's like an ultimate simp. Like I guess she's getting with Daphne now. Like you completely fumble the source material. Now you're leaving it up to fans to be like, no, this isn't for anybody coming in. And they're like, oh, this is what Scooby-Doo's all about. No, it's now legacy fans have to fix that perception. And there was a reason why that show was universally attacked by everybody. And her attacking fans back didn't help either, because like you completely fumbled the message.
No, I agree. All right, we'll watch one more clip and then we'll wrap things up. Yeah, whichever.
Can you just add it to the stage, Radell?
Whatever next one you want to put.
That Velma show has a 1.6 on IMDb.
It's terrible.
It's so
my
bad.
God.